Hello, my name is Andre Alvin Moore, Master Numerologist, and today's lesson is on death. Death. In 1 Corinthians 15th chapter, 31st verse, we read, I die daily. What did Paul mean by this statement? Well, I cannot comment on what Paul meant, but I can comment on what that statement means to me. First, I must ask the question, whom does I refer to? Is I the individual? Is I referring to Paul? Or is it referring to all of us? And secondly, what is the definition of die and daily? Well, Webster's New Dictionary defines die as to stop living and defines daily as every day. So, the big question remains, how is it can someone stop living every day? In order to answer that question, we must get a working definition of what is life. Webster's New Dictionary defines it as that property of plants and animals which makes it possible for them to take in food, get energy from it, and to grow. Now, strangely, Mr. Webster does not include humans in this definition, but I will. Mr. Webster does not offer the reader no insight about what he means by that property. In order to have life, that property must be present. So I must assume that this property must have life, a force of some sort, a sense of self-awareness, and a consciousness. So to have life, one must be aware, having a consciousness. So if a man is in a coma, are we aware that he is aware, that he is conscious, that he's in a coma? And if he's not aware, can we say that he is dead even though his body still functions? Furthermore, when Paul uses the word I, is he referring to a physical body? Or is he referring to that property that provides energy for life? When we sleep at night, are we aware that we are sleeping? Are we aware of our time, our breathing? Are we aware of the action or inaction going on around us? If we're not aware, does this mean that we are dead? What does it mean to awake? Awake from what? Do we lose our awareness when we sleep and regain it when we awake? Do we? Good questions. But in order to answer these questions, we must understand that the I that Paul talks about refer to physical awareness. It does not refer to a greater truth, which is the only truth, that we are a soul. This small I, being physical awareness, do die daily in sleep. It loses all sense of awareness about the physical awareness state, and then it's brought into a different awareness. This awareness can never die, for it is never born. This awareness is the knowledge that is part of that property which creates, sustains, and destroys physical creation. The word death has 5 letters. 5 is the number that leads one to freedom. So death frees the soul from one of its 3 encasements. The other 2 are the astral, Astral, and casual, Casual. Now, the uppercase letter D is ruled by the number 4, the number of imprisonment. The soul is confined to the body until one nods out in sleep. Then the soul is released from the body. Okay, now, the soul maintains a connection when it is out of the body through what we call the astral cord, Astral cord, Cord. Similar to a baby, a fetus is attached to the mother through an umbilical cord. Okay? So the soul stays attached to the body while the body regenerates, while the body is refurnished, while the body is resting. The soul is out of the body. Okay. Now, the number 5 rules the second letter, which is E, and the soul seeks freedom from having to reincarnate over again and again in the body. And it can only achieve this victory by breaking the chain that ties it to the body. And the chain that ties the soul to the body are desires. As long as you desire something other than you reuniting with truth, with God, then that will must be done. So if you have a desire to become wealthy and you don't fulfill that desire in this present life, then you will continue to reincarnate until that desire is fulfilled. So all desires must be fulfilled. The key then is to lessen your desires, or to only have one desire. And that desire ought to be a conscious self-realization that you and the Father are one. That ought to be your own desire. Okay, so let's continue on. Now, the number 1 rules the third letter, A, the number of the self. Whenever you see the 1, it is pertaining to you. The self, or I, must come to know and understand that it is not the physical body, but the immortal soul, and work through the physical plane to achieve this awareness. Now, the number 2 rules the 4th letter, which is T, the number of duality. And all that exists in the world of duality is created, and as such much must perish. All of creation at some point will dissolve. All of creation at some point must dissolve. But because the soul is not a creation but part of the Creator, then the soul shall never perish. Okay? So, duality deals with the concepts of time and space. and the soul must learn not to identify with this false reality. Now, the number 8 rules the fifth letter of H, the number of the wheel of fortune. Mankind chases a ghost. Every life he goes around and around, reaching for and sometimes possessing things that he can never keep. Now, when you add all 5 numbers together, the 4, the 5, the 1, the 2, and the 8, brings you to the compound number of 20, reduced down to its core essence of 2, which is the number of the goddess energy. And in order to break the rounds of life and death, one must become more receptive, more passive, more receptive through meditation, ceasing the mind's chatter, clearing out all false identities about who and what you are, coming to awareness that you are part of that property that has never been created, so therefore can never die. It is a false illusion to think that you can die. Death is for those that has forgotten their immortality and has fallen asleep in the dream of Maya, cosmic illusion that attempts to divert man from spirit to matter, from reality to unreality. You must manifest your Christ consciousness within your own being to do battle with this elusive force. Okay, that is my take on death, broken down through numerology. Perhaps you may have a different understanding, and I would love for you to post your comments down below. Thank you for listening to this video on death, and I hope you understand that you are the soul, the eternal, everlasting being, and that it is illusion to think that you died. The physical, yes, must be dissolved, but the physical is not you. It is just the home that you're occupying while you have your physical experiences. Hopefully, those physical experiences will lead you to higher truths and higher knowledge so that you can break the chains that keeps you coming back again and again and again. So until the next video, look within. Seek the kingdom of God first, and then all things must be added unto you. Peace.